Hi, friends. It's time for another little Thoughts of Jenny. So this topic I've thought about for a really long time, and I got a little background information for you as we get started. So, a little less than a year ago, I started working with the school district to see if I could get my son jumped up a grade. He's bored at school. He was bored. And so we went through all the testing and everything. And he did fine. He did fine passing all the testing. But ultimately they're like, it's a big jump to go from grade school to middle school. And we don't think it would be wise for him to make the jump into not just the next grade up, but the next grade up. And I was like, I think it's worth it. I want to see him fail. I want to see him have the challenge and really figure out how to fix it and then really succeed at it. Did you know? The school district does not want to see a child fail. That would reflect poorly on their test scores. So they said no. And I decided not to push it. So fast forward a little bit and parent-teacher conferences come along. Now, it's cool to watch each of your kids do experiences a little differently. So one child says, Mom, I don't want you to be involved in keeping track of my homework or anything. I want to do this on my own. Did pretty good the first year. This kid, though, I was like, I kind of feel like I should keep track of this parent-teacher conference thing, at least for the first quarter. So he was like, no. And I was like, yeah, let's do this. So we go into his first middle school parent conference experience. Not doing so well. And I'm like, why should a parent freak out about a kid's grades? Like, just find out what's going on, right? So I went into it and I was like, tell me about this C. What is going on here? What's going on here? And he didn't really want to say much, and I didn't really push it because over the next few weeks, things I had told him at that time, he owned as his own idea and started sharing him back with me. So what does a mom do? She lets it be. And he said, Mom, I think I better do better with my grades. Oh, that would be a great idea. How did you come to this conclusion? Things like that. Well, it turns out he said apparently homework didn't matter in elementary school, so he didn't do it. And his teacher knew how smart he was, and she didn't push it. But in middle school, it matters. And that's where the bad grades come in, because you're just not turning in the homework. And he didn't know it would matter. And I loved it. Okay, so that's the background. So I'm sitting over lunch with a friend, and we had some really good conversation. I wrote down some of the topics we talked about so I can do them on Facebook, because I think it's a really cool thing to share with you. But she said, hey, once my kids are in middle school, they are on their own. And it's kind of a fun place to say, yeah, you can be on your own, because the kids in middle school, they can fail and fail again and really hit rock bottom on what it's like to be in charge of their own grades and their own homework and their own stress, all of that. And then when they get to high school, they're better prepared for it. Now, I'm going to tell you something about me. I did a little bit of the perfection syndrome that Brene Brown talks about. Wanted to really be a pleaser and be a perfectionist at what I was working at while I was growing up. And so I really strived to get great grades. Here's the problem with that. I failed in college. And it was finally to the breaking point where my persona was like, you can't keep this up anymore, Jenny. When are you going to be real with yourself? And so I failed. I went into full-blown test anxiety. I had full-blown anxiety. I mean, the anxiety where I was telling a therapist, it's like my head's disconnected from my body. And she's like, why are you not on drugs? But I'm not on drugs. I mean prescription drugs. But that doesn't help either, because when you start taking those prescription drugs, you get too sleepy to stay awake in class for the very thing you're going to be tested on. So that was really interesting to me. So the idea of letting my kids just own their experience in middle school when it just really doesn't matter, and they're just really figuring this out and all the messy it goes with it, I think it's a great idea. So I learned something else in this process. When we were signing up for classes last year, I advised one of my children to sign up for debate because, hey, I knew it would be an amazing skill for her to learn. Like, you'll be so good at learning this skill. It will help you so much. And so, dutiful daughter signs up for it. Dutiful daughter decides she can't possibly take this class, but realizes it too late and can't transfer classes. And then proceeds to get a C. Maybe she got a D in the class, first quarter. And she promises it will be very different next quarter. She just hates the class. Guess what happened the next quarter? Oh, it got worse. We got straight up Fs. So many missing assignments. I walked into her room one night. Just said, so how did we get here? And how can I further support you in maybe changing the outcome? Maybe not this time. I think it's a little late this time. Maybe next time, how can we change this outcome? And that's what she said. Mom, I registered because you wanted me to, and I wanted to please you. Okay, but this did not please me. And she's like, yeah, I didn't want to do it. And so I just kind of didn't. And I was okay with that because, okay, lesson learned. Don't do something just because someone else wants you to. I mean, how many times do we drag our feet to fulfill an obligation because someone else shutted us into doing it? It's not going to work. I mean, that's just what I talked about last time, is shitting. It doesn't work. It's got to come from within. So I thought that was great. And then today, this is, I have been stepping back as full-time parent because Steve has stepped in as full-time parent, and I'm kind of like full-time on the side. I don't know how to place it, but he's very much like, I've got the house. You just do your thing to be happy. Okay, I can do that. So so last week was snow day. They got called a snow day. Apparently there hasn't been a snow day in Utah for like 22 years. So there was a snow day. And so to make up the snow day, they took what was going to be a vacation today and said, well, now you got to do it as a makeup day. So today's makeup day for school. But Daddy was in charge. And Daddy said, you were promised a 4-day weekend. And we kind of started planning a 4-day weekend. It's up to you guys. You can make the decision, but he's a party guy and he loves his kids. So what do you think? He advocated. Well, I got up this morning and I was like, just so you guys know, when like nobody's at school, it's actually like party day and you might want to be there. They didn't buy it. Not one of them bought it. One of them thought that I didn't want them home and started to leave the house in tears and go to school. And I was like, sorry, that's not really what I interpreted that to be. It's interesting though, because I'm like, okay, well, we'll let this decision ride. We'll see where this takes them. Because every decision is a great chance for them to practice and learn. Because so be it, by the time they're 15, I think they should be really making a lot of decisions on their own. So by the time they're 18 and they're ready to go, they are locked, stocked, and ready to make decisions and to understand what failure looks like as an adult, but how they practiced at it at home when there was still a safety net. So let them fail. That's what I think. Let's just let them fail. Fail hard. And then be there to give them a hug at the end of the day. Anyway, hope you have a great day.